What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Hi, I'm Kevin Moore, host of The Moore Show, and it's my passion to help you live your best life now. You might be looking to find answers on love, connecting with your life's purpose, reuniting with a loved one on the other side, discovering your past lives, or just helping you make sense, finding your direction now. So The Moore Show has collaborated with the most gifted readers around the world to form The Moore Show Psychics. Now, my readers have a large range of skills to choose from to be of service to you, and all my psychics are interviewed to show transparency, with each interview available on the website. So call now, dialing the numbers on the screen to speak to my operators 24/7, or go to tmspsychics.com to choose a reader or book online. The Moore Show Psychics, helping you transform your present moment into the most loving and happiest it can be. Now, I also offer a full money back guarantee, so what have you got to lose? Empower your life now.
The comments and views expressed on The Moore Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The Moore Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online. You're now watching The Moore Show, and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. Now, for the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. Now, on today's show, I'm about to be joined with my guest, Nancy Yearout. Now, Nancy teaches you how to learn to use universal energy to change your life in her latest book, Wake Up, the Universe is Speaking to You. Now, as a mum and a grandmother, she enjoys sharing her life experiences in her writings, her private readings, and her talks. Now, she joins me today to discuss her book, teachings, and much, much more. Nancy Yearout, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
That's great to have you on, Nancy. This interview's obviously about your latest book, which is Wake Up, the Universe is Speaking to You. I say latest book, this is the only book you've done?
This is, actually it's the second edition. I wrote it and then added to it recently and went ahead and published it with Energy Girl Publishing. And it's out there on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, so you can find me there.
Excellent. Okay. So how long did this book take to, from sort of, writing the book to actually getting it published?
Kevin, it took me probably about 3 years of going through different parts of my life and trying to remember, hey, how did I learn to do that? And oh yeah, I remember that. And so it took a while, of course, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget anything. This is a really important book about energy to help people.
How many times have you read your own book, would you say?
You know what? I read some of it this morning because I forget to do what I teach. It's like everybody else. I can tell you what to do, but sometimes I forget it myself. So I try to keep up on that stuff.
Okay. Where would you say the majority of this information came from? Is it just life experiences, or would you say it's something else that's talking through you?
It started out with life experiences. It started out as a single mom. I had 2 little girls. I was in my 20s, and I had to make money. I was by myself. I had to protect my kids and create an income for ourselves. And that's really what started me on the path of energy and how do I draw things to myself. I got into the real estate business, and it's a tough business. If you don't sell anything, you don't make money. So I learned how to use the energy to draw business to myself. That's the first thing that I really learned to do. And then as I delved into it further, I think I became religious over the years, because then I started to realize, hey, this was set up for us so that we could benefit, so our lives could be better. And now I believe it all came from the Creator, but in the beginning I thought I had control, to be honest with you.
So let's get this right then. Okay,
Sure.
that's an interesting picture you're painting there. So what was your background initially? Was it religious? Were your parents religious or spiritual or nothing?
Right. Well, my parents were Christians, and we had to go to Sunday school, and I hated it, just like every kid. I didn't want to get up Sunday morning and go to Sunday school. And then as I got older, I was a rebellious kid. You know, I did what I wanted to do, and I thought I knew better than my parents, of course. And then as I got older and got out into the world, it kind of hit me, you know, wait a minute. Here I am, I'm a single mom, marriage didn't work out, I've got to provide for my kids, what do I do? And at that point, I mean, you start to look for answers, you know what I'm saying? So that's what happened to me.
So how old were you when you had your kids then? I mean, what sort of age was that?
You know, I was 19 when I had my first daughter. And so my kids were probably 5 and 9 when I was divorced. And I was in a really bad marriage. Couldn't believe I got myself into it, got myself out, and like I said, got into the real estate industry, started to find out about like affirmations and how to draw things to myself. I had a lot of mentors along the way, moved to New Mexico, which is a very spiritual place. Met with a lot of Native Americans, a lot of spiritual teachers, and started to understand how this stuff really works and how to draw business to myself, how to protect my kids, how to protect myself, how to protect my energy fields. I mean, I could go on.
You know, it takes a lot of guts and a lot of braveness, I suppose, to step out of a relationship at that age that's not working with 2 babies as well. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do, but I guess you did it, thank God. And because when I was reading your bio, I thought, well, she's a bit young to be a grandma, but now it's kind of making sense. What books were influencing you at the time when you took those steps to become a real estate broker? Is that what you call it over there?
Well, I am a real estate broker, yeah, and I still practice. I'm still a practicing real estate broker. A lot of the things, I went to seminars by Zig Ziglar, and I went to hear Barbara Bush speak, and then Louise Hay came into it with her positive affirmations, and then I started to pay attention to Doreen Virtue and how to clear your energy fields. And at one point, this is really interesting, I'll tell you this, I learned to draw business to myself. I would get in my car, and I would drive to work, and I would say, business flows immediately and constantly to me, and I accept the abundance. And I believed it. Now, here's the key to this whole thing that nobody really says, okay? This is real life. So here I am. I have to sell a house. So I can say my positive affirmations, but I have to believe the positive affirmations. That's the key to this whole thing. And that's the thing that people don't tell you, okay? You have to know what it feels like when you make that sale and you are able to pay your bills, okay? So I did this out of necessity, right?
Right.
Then I learned it worked. I was selling houses like crazy because I have really good energy. And here's what I learned, and this is really it in a nutshell. Whatever you put out to the universe is what you get back. Very simple. That's how our creator, you can call him God, it's the vibration. It's the vibration of your words, the vibration of your thoughts that goes out into the universe, and you're saying, hey, this is what I want. Now, not to get off the subject too much, but if you say, hey, I'm never going to be successful, and you say that over and over and over, that's what vibration goes out into the universe. The universe picks up on it and gives you exactly what you asked for. No success. But,
yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? But if you say, hey, I need to sell houses, I'm going to sell them, I know in my heart and soul, that's where your faith comes in, and that took me a long time to achieve. If you have faith and know that you're going to receive it, you will. I became so successful. It was crazy. But then, at one point, I became so successful and there was so much jealousy around me that my business stopped. And when my business stopped, it freaked me out because I thought I had it all under control, but I didn't. So I went to see this really cool older Native American lady in New Mexico. I'm going to tell you this story. It's pretty cool. And I sat down with her and I said, hey, what is going on here? I am selling houses like crazy. I have a really great business. Why did my business stop? And she said, because people are envious of you. People are jealous. You've done too well. She said, do you not know about energy vampires? Do you not know how to protect yourself? She said, it's great that you're putting good energy out there, but don't you know how to protect yourself from the bad energy? And I said, no, I didn't. All I knew is I was selling houses and making money and taking care of my kids.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. She taught me, she said, hey, go get this book on energy vampires and read about this. Learn to protect yourself. And that's how I started to protect myself. And my business came back. And so I write about that in the book.
Okay, well we've got to get into that, the energy vampires. We really do. And I'll go a little bit extended on this interview because obviously there's some great stuff to talk about here. When you had the when that was flowing, when the house sales were going through, and you were using the affirmations or whatever it was, law of attraction or whatever it was inside you to bring forth those transactions, in the sense that you believed, you thought about it, you thought about the outcome, as in the house was going to sell, you believed in it, you felt the feeling of what it feels like for the completion to go through. Tell me if I'm wrong, right? Did you question it? Did you question it much when it was happening? Were you like, well, I'm not too sure exactly what I'm doing here, but whatever I'm doing is working, but I'm not going to question it too much?
Exactly. And it took me years to realize, I was not a religious person. I'm just going to tell you, I wasn't. I mean, I was brought up to be religious, but nobody ever really said, hey, if you have faith in our creator, it makes a difference. It took me years to figure that out. I was a slow learner. So I guess I want to say to people, if somebody would have told me, hey, Nancy, or taught me when I was younger, whatever vibration and whatever belief you have, if it's positive and good, that's what you're going to get back. But if you put out negative stuff, that's exactly where you're going to get back. And nobody ever taught me that. No one ever says that to you. And so you're just out there. Yeah,
Well, yeah.
And I learned how to assess.
Yeah, and you could switch it round from what we're saying now. It doesn't have to be business. What if it was a relationship? If you were to think of that person all the time, right? Not obsessively. It kind of sounds obsessive the way I'm saying it, right? But you know what I mean. Where they're always in your thoughts, your loving thoughts, of someone that you like. Then you'd be surprised what the universe sends back sometimes.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I did that one too, and I'm so happily married. I have to tell you, I met the love of my life, and this is how I did it. And I made all the mistakes. So I'll tell you what not to do, and I'll tell you what to do. So yes, I wanted a relationship just like everybody else does. And I had been in a terrible relationship. So finally I would ask, I'd say, okay, I want a guy and he's got to be really good looking and he's got to have money and he's got to be a hard worker. And I wasn't specific and I didn't choose my words carefully enough. And the universe gave me exactly what I asked for.
Wow.
So yeah, because the energy is powerful and you don't even realize what you're doing. You really need to be careful with your words. Your words have vibrations. Your thoughts have vibrations. This is how our creator set this up. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. So finally, I mean, it took me forever. And I learned that what you do is, and this is what I did. I wrote down on a piece of paper. And the reason I wrote it down is because my energy of physically writing that down, okay, and I say the ink makes it stick, okay. I wrote down exactly what I wanted. I wanted a nice man who loved me for the inside, not just the outside. I wanted somebody who was religious because I had become religious. I wanted somebody who was a hard worker because I was a hard worker. So I just wrote down all the things I really, truly wanted. And then I lit a fire to it. I always light it. I signed my name. I lit it. I burned it.
No way.
And said, okay, there you go. I lit fire to it. There you go. And I waited. And I was impatient, but I got what I wanted. Exactly what I asked for.
Was it better than what you asked for?
Yes. Yes.
Why did you burn it?
Because it gives it energy, gives it power.
Oh. I would have thought that would have, you know, taken it back and destroyed the actual what was written on the paper in the sense of what you're asking for, but
no.
I must remember that's where I'm going wrong. I'm not burning it. Right, it's bonfire night tonight. Yeah, okay.
A little fire to it, okay?
Yeah. Okay, now that's really, really. Where did you learn that from?
You know, again, I took a lot of classes with different spiritual people. I read a lot of books. I got into, I didn't just check out Christianity. I checked out Buddhism. I checked out everything. I was really looking for the answers. I talked to so many different people. You know, like I said, I didn't just become religious. I checked out all different avenues. Well, how does this stuff work? And I came to that conclusion.
Could this still work if you're spiritual or not religious? Does it, you know, does it matter?
Yes.
No.
No, it's energy. Look, God set it up, creator, whatever you want to call him, spirit, you know, he set up the universe with energy. The energy is here for our benefit. We just don't know how to use it. That's the problem. Once you learn how to use the energy to your benefit, you can be successful in your personal life, your business, whatever. The thing is, people don't pay attention. And another thing I want to talk about really quick is negative energy. Because when you're around negative people, that negative energy gets on you. Whether you're at work, whether you're at home, if you're in a bad relationship, and if you don't know how to clear yourself and clear your energy fields, you got to remember, Kevin, we're made up of energy. That's it. We have 7 chakras. We're made up of energy. And if we don't keep them clear and we take on negative stuff, it just bogs us down. And so that's a huge part of this too.
So I'm not getting too personal, but you was in your mid-20s or late 20s when you then met this chap through using this.
Oh gosh, no. I was in my 40s. It took me a while.
That's what I was going to ask you. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you write that piece of paper of the perfect kind of example of a relationship you wanted to draw to? You went
probably in my mid-40s.
Okay. So what? Out of curiosity, then, why did it take you to your mid-40s to want to commit something like that?
Well, I didn't get it. Okay, I was working really hard. First of all, I concentrated probably for 10 years on just getting my kids through school. You got to remember they were 5, 9 when I first started this. So I didn't care about a relationship in the beginning. I just got out of a bad one. So I focused on my business. Yeah, I mean, I focused on my business. I learned. In my off time, I did spiritual work. I worked with a lot of different mentors. I wasn't ready. I had to fix myself. And that's another thing that people forget. Until you are ready and clear and get it yourself, how are you going to meet somebody else? You can't. So I had to get my own act together. So it took me, 10 years of building my business, getting my kids, raised, doing the proper thing. And then I came time to look for a relationship. And that was trial and error. And that's how I figured that out. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, even though you've got this wonderful relationship, there's still hills. Everything's on a hill. Everything's up and down. There's no straight line in life. Life's not meant to be that perfect. There's supposed to be challenges. It's just the way it is.
Right. Exactly. But I clear myself now. My husband knows how to clear himself. I do a lot of meditation now. I do yoga now. I work with the essential oils quite a bit, aromatherapy. And he does it too, which is awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Now we've spoken on, obviously, you've got the business background here, and that's the thing, isn't it? With this energy, God, the universe, whatever you want to personify it as, doesn't care about you don't have to have a life that's all about being being super spiritual in a sense. Materialistic things are just as important if you want those kind of things, or as you wanted to build a business, and you can use the energy for that. There's no judgment. That's my point from the source, basically.
Yeah, but what I want to tell you is once I got everything, I didn't have anybody to share it with. That's before I met my husband. And let me tell you something. That was another huge lesson in my life. I had it all. I had the house, the car. I traveled. I was really hotsy-totsy. But let me tell you something. When you come home and you're by yourself and you don't have anybody to share it with, it doesn't mean anything. And I think that's when the spiritual part took over for me, because it's not about the material things. It's not about the car or the clothes or what you look like. It's what's inside. And until you meet that person and you have someone to share your life with that really truly loves you for who you are, because love is, I hate to sound corny here, but love is the bottom line. It really truly is. And I'm more happy now than I've ever been. The material stuff doesn't make you happy. It just doesn't. It's people. It's people.
Absolutely it is. I suppose when you had all that materialistic stuff,
I still do.
You still do, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm trying to say here. The Secret, the film, pushed it quite a bit. I know it didn't push the spirit, the as we've talked about there, the kind of what I'm trying to get to is the being of service part, right?
Correct.
Right. Where was that part for yourself in a sense? When do you think? I suppose you was being of service because you was doing what you loved, which was real estate brokering, and that part of that was providing homes for people.
Correct. And you know what? It may sound really corny, but I helped a single mom at Christmas time buy a house and surprise her son. And let me tell you something. There is a lot of joy in that. What I have done to help people get into homes and buy property and do different things is the way I could give back. Now, the reason I wrote the book is I had learned so much. And I had always thought when I got really old, I'd write a book and tell everybody how I became successful. Well, when my husband and I got married, we traveled together, and I was given the opportunity to write this. And that's why I've written it in the last few years, because I've had an opportunity to do it. And I really think that God wanted me to write it, because I think our world is so messed up right now, and people have just lost what's really important. Yeah, it's great to have nice things, but that's not what's important in life. And we all are only here for a short period of time, and once we're gone and we get up to the pearly gates and God says, hey Nance, what'd you do down there? I'm not going to say, oh well, I looked good or I had a lot of stuff. He's going to say, how many people did you help? Were you nice? Were you kind? Did you give back? Those are the things that are really important. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And my hope is that if people start to give more and realize what's really important, and again, we can actually raise the vibration here on the planet. I know that may sound out there to you.
No, it doesn't.
But The more good you put out, the more good vibrations that we all put out, the universe picks it up, it sends it back. The more negative vibration we send out there, the universe picks it up and sends it back. So the whole idea of this is for people to raise the vibration. Does that make sense?
Of course it does. Of course it does. And, you know, it may not be God that's going to ask you those questions. Maybe it's yourself that's going to ask yourself those questions. And maybe the greatest person to judge you will be you, not no one else. Which is maybe just the same as God in a way, but that's just my take on it. It does make a lot of sense what you're saying as well. Life is so short, life is so precious, and you know, we live life. I'm guilty of this because I've been thinking about this for the past few weeks, on and off. Just now, even today I was thinking about it, that, you know, I could not be here tomorrow, which is fine, but did I live the life that I really wanted to live? Am I leaving behind me what I really, you know, am I living by what I'm preaching as well, and even to myself? And yeah, even to tell that person that, you know what, I did love you, but I just never had the guts to tell you, kind of thing. Right. Yeah, we do live as though we're going to be here forever, don't we?
Yeah, you're right on, and it's exactly how I feel. I can remember being a child and being afraid to get old and die. And now I've learned so much. I'm not afraid anymore. Where I realize that we're only here for a certain amount of time, and it's what we do with it. We've been given a gift. I've been given a gift. You've been given a gift, and it's like, how are you going to use it? Are you going to be selfish? Are you going to be me? And that's what I see a lot of. Or are you going to give back and help others? Because there is joy and fulfillment when you give to others. There's a big... It's so rewarding when you do for others. That's where I'm at.
But can you give for others if your cup's not full yourself?
Of course. You know, I'm going to tell you something. You go to the store or you go out shopping, and I see a lot of people with sad faces. They don't smile. Just smiling at somebody could make their day. Just saying hello, and you know, maybe they're having a really bad day, and maybe they just needed another human being to say, hey, how are you? Or you look good, or what a nice dress you got on today. People don't do that. And yes, you can. You don't have to have material things to give. You give of yourself. And that's what I've learned. And it's the energy. Now, let me tell you this. I have a whole chapter on it. The energy of giving. Believe it or not, the universe picks up on the energy of giving. And when you give, the universe knows it, and you get back tenfold. That's how our Creator set this up. And it's amazing if you do it.
It does seem to be that way, doesn't it? It always seems to point back to that. And yet we're so quickly, we forget about that part, and we're like, maybe not. Maybe that wasn't a sign there. But it does seem to be a sign, doesn't it, that when we give, we do get back. But you know, I have all sorts of different people on my show, and I will, you know, what's your views on putting yourself first, in the sense of do what you love, don't do it for anyone else, just do it for yourself. And by doing it for yourself, it's a natural side effect of helping others. Or would you say do it for others, forget about yourself, and that's a natural side effect of helping yourself and others. Put someone else first, not yourself.
All right. This is how this works, and I know exactly how it works. So when I sell somebody a house, there is so much fulfillment inside of me for doing the right thing. I didn't cheat them. I did the right thing. I did the very best job I could do, and I don't have to do anything. The universe picks up on that, and I get it back tenfold. I don't have to do anything at all. You see what I mean? You just do what's natural. You do the right thing. You know, the way the universe is set up, if you do the right thing, you say the right thing, you're not nasty, you're not doing it for the wrong reason. When you do things for the wrong reason, the universe picks that up. That's where karma comes in, you see. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. And you know, when I talked about the hills, and that, you know, it's not always a straight line. Even then, when you're in your flow and you're coming from the space that you're talking about right now, that, you know, and we'll get into that a bit more as well. Do you think that the universe can test us as well, that can present us with lessons to learn even in that moment?
Absolutely. And I've learned these lessons. And here's the interesting thing. And you can do it. It can happen in a job. It can happen in your personal life. If you keep having the same relationship over and over and over, but with different people, the universe absolutely is trying to teach you a lesson. Now, once you learn the lesson, you meet the right person or you move forward in that job. But until you learn the lesson, the universe is going to keep presenting it over and over and over. It's a repeat because you haven't gotten the lesson yet. Does that make sense?
It does, but you know, I could say to myself, you know, and others that are watching this hopefully can say to them, look, I don't want any more karmic relationships. I don't want any relationships where it's based on, you know, just being together because it fills a gap, do you know what I mean, for both of us, because we can't find the person we really want. I want that deep soul relationship. But can you get that if you're not too sure, you know, what you're, you know, if there's anything more to learn? Or do you just put the feelers out there that that's really what you want, and the universe says, okay, there you go, it's yours, in its own time?
And here's what I've learned. You get what you want, not on your time, but on the universe's time. It's not truth. It's, let me tell you something. I learned all this stuff and I wrote it all down and I said, where is my guy? Where is my guy? I was impatient. God really tried to teach me patience, and that's still one of my things. I'm learning patience in this lifetime. But it wasn't on my timeline. It was on their creator's timeline, the universe's timeline. When they felt I was ready, when I had learned what I needed to learn, then there he was. But I didn't get it until the universe felt that I was ready. Not on my timeline. You don't have that much control.
Well, even when the signs were there, right, because this could be applied in a relationship or business, right? So let's just talk about signs sometimes. But let's just go with your relationship. Even when the signs were there, did you listen? Were you like, oh, come on, send me another one. Send me another sign, because that can't be true.
It took me, I just kept repeating the same relationship over with different people until I learned my lesson. And then once I fixed myself, and I believe this so wholeheartely, until you're ready yourself, you can't meet anybody else because you don't want to screw them up, right? So the universe wouldn't let me. It just what didn't happen. And so then it happened, and I was like, man, it took forever. But it was worth it, see?
Okay, absolutely it was. So let's just get into that space again, right? Okay, so if there's something we really want to manifest, right? Be it business or something personal, yeah? Business is a big thing right now for people as well, right? You would say, commit it clearly to paper as, and what would you call the bit of paper? Something like the things I want to manifest, or
right. New Year's is the perfect time. I'm going to tell you something. Every New Year's Day, and I've done this for years, I sit down, I find a quiet spot, I sit down with a piece of paper, and I write down all the things I want to accomplish this year. And I don't burn it. I fold it up and I put it in my wallet or in my purse, and I hold on to it. And I've told the universe and I've told myself it's a mental thing as well as an energetic thing, okay? Because you're putting the vibration out there, but it's getting into your subconscious. This is what I want to accomplish this year. And you write it all down. Okay, and it's important that you do that. Don't type it on your computer. Write it on a piece of paper. It gives it energy, okay? Fold it up, put it away, look at it at the end of the year, and I bet you've accomplished all your goals. Because you have to ask. You have to put the intention out there. This is what I want. Now, I also put my goals like on my vision board. I have a vision board in my office. A lot of people do. Yeah. I'll put my goals up on my vision board so I look at them on a consistent basis. Again, you're reinforcing it to yourself and you're reinforcing it out to the universe. You can say affirmations every day. There's a lot of different things you can do. Now, you will only get what the universe wants to give you or something better.
That's true, isn't it? You know, we always have the... Is that a good thing to really say, okay, so if you say to yourself, this is what I want, but with no attachments. What I mean by that is do not be attached to the outcome, because that's when you're living out of present moment. And also, as you just said, that something better might come along. So why be attached to something lesser?
Right. Don't. Just put it out there. Ask. You usually get what you want or something better. Always. It's always happened that way for me. And I'll tell you something else. It didn't start happening that way for me until I had faith. And faith was a really tough thing for me to learn because I thought I had control. I'm a type A personality. I'm a go-getter. I thought I could control everything. I have no control. This is not in my control. I can only ask the universe for what I want and wait for it to respond. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So you let it go, yeah, and you just waited for it to come. Yeah, yeah. But then, how many times would you visualize it, or use affirmations? Was there any? So did affirmations and visualizations come in there? Because what I'm saying is, when I say visualize, I mean thinking about it. If you were to think about it non-stop, kind of drive yourself a little bit crazy, and that's maybe not the best way to do it. But that must have a lot of energy on it, or increase the energy.
Yeah, it does. And you have to think about it. Let me give you an example. Say you want a new car, okay?
Right.
So you have to be able to see yourself in the car, driving the car. Don't see yourself in the passenger seat or your friend will get the car, okay? See yourself driving the car, know what color, know what kind, and feel what it feels like to be driving that car, and then let it go. Okay? Don't hold on to it. Let it go. Now, you'll end up with either that car or something nicer. Okay? Try it. You have to try this. Have you ever visualized a parking space? Start with a parking space, okay? This is the easiest thing to do. This is really cool. I want everybody out there to do this. This is the most awesome thing, and it works. So, when you're headed out and you're in your car, visualize. Don't just say, visualize there's a parking space right up front, know that it's there, let it go. When you get to your destination, there will be a parking spot up front for you. And after you do this so many times and it happens, then you start to move on to other things, okay? So you start out simple, realize that this works, and then move forward, okay?
Okay, absolutely, and that does actually work. I'll say that because many people I know have used that, and yeah, the parking angel kind of scenario. Yeah, definitely.
It's no angel; it's the energy of your intention.
Yeah, I know that. That's what other people called it, but it's what you're saying. That's absolutely. It's the energy you're putting out there, and everything is energy, isn't it? What if we're doing something work-wise where some people are just not too sure why they're doing it, yet they're doing it and it feels good, but they're not questioning it too much. They're not even using law of attraction. Well, they don't think they're using law of attraction to even manifest it in their lives. It's just happening because they chose it to be.
Well, there's a certain path that we all are on. I believe that we have different paths. We were all sent down here in my mind to do something. Maybe I started out in real estate, but then God said, hey, you know what, Nancy, I don't want you to do real estate. I want you to do a little spiritual work. And that really happened to me because I thought I was going to be a real estate broker forever, and I still am. But somehow, in between it all, I learned all the spiritual stuff, right?
Right.
And then I had the opportunity to write a book and tell other people. So maybe my path wasn't just real estate. Maybe that was my avenue to get to where I am now. Does that make sense?
That does.
So it's an avenue.
That does. So sometimes, because that's true, isn't it? Sometimes we're doing things and we just feel drawn to do them, but we don't question it as deep as we would do if we looked at it from the work that you do. And I think you're so right what you say in the sense of sometimes we're just on a path and it's been predestined maybe before we came here that's just what we're supposed to do to get to where we're going to get, and it's the in-between parts maybe we can use the wake up questions that you're presenting today to really put us into where we're supposed to be going. But that's it. But I don't think there's nothing wrong, is there? Everything where we are right now is perfect. That's what we have to remind ourselves of. And that this comes to being grateful for everything we've got, even though we may not have the life that we really truly would love. If we don't love the present moment, then all we're projecting is, oh well, I want to be in the future because that will make me happier being somewhere else.
Right. And the grateful energy is another thing. When you are grateful, you know, people forget. There's so many people that are less fortunate. So be grateful for your health. There's so many people that are not healthy. You know, be happy for your health. Be happy that you're here. Be happy that you've been given an opportunity to do whatever you want to do in life. And we forget those small things because I think the media, I hate to say this, just has made us so materialistic. And we have to change it. We just have to change it because that's not what the important things are. It's what we do for other people, the love, the good energy, the good vibes. That's what's important. I can't stress that enough.
Well, isn't it if interesting that the times that we live in right now, with all that's going on with the political turmoil throughout the world, it's not just one place like America, I mean worldwide, that it's making us go down this direction, isn't it, in a sense, because things are breaking down a little bit.
Wake up. That's the whole idea. Wake up. Pay attention. People aren't paying attention. You got to start paying attention. The spiritual way is the only thing that really matters. All this other stuff doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to take that car with you, and you're not going to be able to take the house with you, and you can't take all that stuff you accumulated, all the money, all the fame. That doesn't go with you. We're only here for a short time. We've been given an opportunity, and it's like, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to waste it, or are you going to do some good while you're here on Earth? And I think that's where I got to, because I became successful, and I actually became snotty at one point. I will tell you that.
I couldn't believe that of you.
Oh, yes. And and I'm like, what? Me?
Really?
Yeah. And you know what? You kind of back up and you say, wait a minute. The most important thing is people and what you say, a kind word, and what you do with what you have. Give back. Give back. And this is my way of giving back. This is my way of saying, hey, come on, you guys. Let's do the right thing here. Let's put out some good energy. Some of this awful things that are happening on our planet right now will stop, because the more good energy you put out, the more good energy we get back, and it's going to make a difference. And I really believe that wholeheartedly. I do.
I so agree with you. You know, go back maybe a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago, I would have been like, I want to change the world. I'm fed up with the way it is, right? Until I learned that you can't. And actually the only thing you can change is yourself, and by changing yourself you change those around you. By changing those around you, it has a ripple effect of changing a much bigger picture.
Yes, you're exactly right. That's correct.
But you do talk about in your book as well, you know, try to figure out what truly fulfills the soul. Right. That's kind of what we're talking about here as well in the past 10 minutes, is really trying to get down to what fulfills you. What is it that fulfills you? And sometimes, right, you may be on a course where you're doing something and you know what, it's not that fulfilling, and you just really don't know what it is that would fulfill you. Now, I can only say that because I'm on that course, but I know deep down by trusting that course that it will take me to where I need to be, that will be leading me to do that which I really love. And if I don't do this back-end work, and which I do enjoy, that, you know, there's a bigger picture, and sometimes you're not in control. Right.
Right, and I think that's where faith comes in. There's been many times in my life where, you know, I didn't start praying and asking God for help until I needed it, like most people, you know.
Of course. I
was in a really bad position, and I started to pray, and then I had a friend, her name was Naomi, and she would say, Nancy, you got to have faith. And how do you have faith in what you can't see? How do you have faith when everything's terrible? I mean, how do you have faith? And she gave me a little statue. It's of a little girl, and it said, have faith. And I set it on I talk about this in my book. I tell the story. And she gave it to me 20 years ago, and I still have it. And I set it, and this is when I was going through hard times. And I set it on my windowsill, and I would do dishes at night, and I would look at that thing, and it would say, faith works. That's what it said. Faith works. And I'd think about that. And it wasn't until I really had faith and watched it work that I believed. when I did have faith, and I really truly had faith, I'm not mean talk faith, I mean when I really felt that I had faith in my heart and soul, then I saw that it worked, and then I believed, and that's when I think I realized that all this energy stuff really does work. And the energy of faith is so powerful, just like the energy of prayer. People always say to me, why does prayer work? Well, prayer works because you have a group of people, okay, and they are putting out the vibration in their thoughts, in their words, of they're asking for something. They're asking the universe. Well, the more people that you gather together asking for one common goal, the more power. Think about that. I mean, if you understand the universe and you understand energy and you understand that we're energy, imagine, you know? So that's why I talk about raising the vibration here on the planet, because if we could all just, you know, have a little more faith and a little more positive energy, it could change things here dramatically. Okay?
And you're doing that by releasing this book as well, and doing the path that you've been going down, because you show the two rows really. You know, there's a lot of spiritual people, which is fine, that kind of have a big problem with money sometimes, and I think I've been there as well. When I say spiritual people, I just mean people that, you know, that realize that they're more than their body, that their consciousness, you know, is probably external, and, you know, we come from somewhere and go back to it. Yeah, but the more that you live in present moment, the more that you listen to good material like this, right? and actually take on board some of those things that whatever you think of, you become of. This thing that everything is energy, and it's so true. But, you know, it's okay. It's not waving its hand at you sometimes saying, "Cooey, I'm over here. Hello," right? You've got to go out and do it, and the signs will come tenfold. I swear to God. You know, even if you just want to practice it for something different than business, I swear this stuff really works.
Right. Let me do numbers in my book, and the reason I do a chapter on numbers is because I started to pay attention to the numbers. Again, numbers have energy. Here we go. And I started to realize that the same number, both my kids were born on the same day, different month. Then my grandson was born on that same day.
Oh, that's got to mean something.
Everything, right? So then I started to pay attention. That my license plate added up to that number. Then I realized that number was in my checking account. And I started to pay attention to numbers. And I did a lot of research. And I do a whole chapter about numbers, because if you start to pay attention to the numbers, you'll realize that the universe is telling you whether you're on the right path or not. Very interesting stuff. So numbers have energy. It's just another way of confirming, yes. Let me give you a quick example. If I go to the store and I'm making a purchase that's a good purchase, and I know it's a good purchase, I have a certain set of numbers that'll come up every single time. And it's like God's going, okay, Nance, you did okay. You made the right purchase. You didn't overspend. But when I overspend or I buy something that I don't really need, I have another set of numbers that come up every single time. And it's the universe saying, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Does that make sense?
That does. Oh my gosh. And did you tie that back into numerology at all?
Absolutely. And I write a whole chapter on numerology and the energy and numbers and how all of that works. And yeah, I mean, you'll have to check it out. But I'm just telling you, if you pay attention to the numbers, even if you're driving down the road and you look at the license plates in front of you, you'll see your number. Once you know what your number is, and most people know if you pay attention, okay, you'll start to see the same number over and over and over.
So let me just get this right, yeah, because as you're talking there's a million thoughts going on in my little head, right? So when you see this same number come up sometimes, and it, you know, it's someone that's maybe communicating with you, and that number's there as well, right? This bloody number. And you're like, I know it's a sign, but what the hell is it saying? Is it saying yes, or is it saying
Okay, like I said, there's one number that is in my checking account. It's in my license plate. Adds up to it. My kids were born. Okay, that's my number. But if I know that something's if I know I'm on my path, I keep seeing the number over and over. It's like confirmation. Hey, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. But then when you see the other number, you know you're off.
But how would you know what your other numbers are? Would you have to get a numerology reading for that?
No, gosh, just pay attention. I mean, I tell you how to do. I tell you how to.
Well, I know what my good number is, right? Because it's there all the time. How would you know what your bad number is?
Well, maybe you haven't shopped as much as me.
Yeah, that could be it, actually. Yeah.
That's how I figured it out. Like, oh, I shouldn't be buying that at all, and that's how I figured it out. And that's the honest truth.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah. No. But you know those numbers. I'm saying back to you, you are right. There is something in those goddamn numbers that is so powerful, and
I know.
And it you know, life speaks to you, but it never gives you the answers. It gives you clues all the time, clues that are so huge in their importance. But this is the thing about life, isn't it? It's always with free will. What do you want to perceive it as? What is your truth on it?
Well, it's like, are you going to pay attention or not? Are you going to shrug it off, or are you going to really pay attention? It's interesting. When I met my husband, you know, he's a spiritual person, more religious than me, I guess, in the very beginning. But I would tell him these things, and he'd just look at me like, are you crazy? And now he's been with me, and he'll say, oh, look. And now he gets it, because he started to pay attention to the numbers, and he realized what I was saying was absolutely the case. So you got to pay attention.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Yes, you do. And you would, I mean, look, I've just got to say this as well. We're 47 minutes in here. The time is just shot by. You would say as well that there is angelic help around us as well.
Yeah, I do a whole chapter in my book on angels. I started to believe in angels when my kids were little. I've had a few different things happen to me in my life. I'll give you one quick story. I've got tons of them that I write about in my book, but just one story. I was stuck in the snow. I was coming out of my office. It was dark. There was nobody around. I was by myself, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy shows up. I don't know where he came from. He had on a black, nice coat, and he had black gloves. He pushed my car out for me. He got me back on the road. I turned around to say thank you, and he was gone.
Wow.
So, you know, I've had a lot of different things happen to me. I believe in angels. I believe you can work with the angels. I'm one of these people. I believe in, I think Archangel Michael is my favorite. I always call on him for protection. I'm real big so we all have angels, and I believe that they're here to help us, but they won't help us unless you ask them to. Okay,
that's a good point there as well. And as you've said in the interview as well already about the I think you mentioned this about you know, looking after your body, diet and exercise, which keeps the energy flowing. I just thought that was a really important point that you made there as well. So yeah, I think you know, there is something in looking after yourself, isn't there?
Well, yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, you do have to eat healthy and watch what you eat. All the things that are in our food today, I do a chapter on that, because you really need to pay attention to what you're putting into your body. I mean, again, we're only here for a certain amount of time. My big thing is keep your energy fields clear, keep your body healthy, be careful about what you put into it. You know, you have to exercise to keep the energy flowing. You can't just sit on the couch. You got to get up and get moving. You know, Oprah said that years ago. Get up and get moving. And she was so right. You have to. Got to keep the energy flowing. Really important.
That's so true, and I do that. I mean, I've been bodybuilding just for a little bit now, and I'm really enjoying it. But then again, I do have a little bit of a vice. I mean, I am living in Amsterdam right now, just outside Amsterdam, and you know, just now and then, you know, there is a bit of the marijuana. I'm not going to say there's not, right? So,
right.
So we've all got things that we maybe shouldn't be doing sometimes, right? But
look at it, Kevin. Everything in moderation.
That is so true. That is
Everything
so true.
In moderation. I mean, you can eat too much, you can smoke too much, you can drink too much, but if you do a little of this and a little of that, everything in moderation, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. Moderation is the key there, most definitely.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about it at the beginning as well, something really interesting. Everything you've said is really interesting, but the effects of negative people around you as well, or negative thinking. I think we just want to go back to that before we wrap it up, is that, that's a big part of it, isn't it? The people that you're surrounded by reflect,
Right.
you know, even, okay, so even the person that you're going to be with is a reflection on a frequency scale of where you're at.
Exactly. So if you've got somebody who's negative around you all the time, sucking your good energy, and I talked about energy vampires, and you're not paying attention, I mean, they can really bring down not just your energy level, your immune system. Okay. This is a real health issue. Okay. I don't mean to get crazy here on this one, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a low energy or low self-esteem, people can suck your energy, bring you down to their level. And what happens is, if you're susceptible to any kind of disease or anything, it can enhance that. Okay. That's why it's so important, if you're around negative people, to stay away. Now, if you're in a workplace and you don't have a choice and you have to work next to somebody who is negative, there are things you can do. Okay. And I write about different things in my book. You can go home at night and take a sea salt bath and clear your energy fields. You know, get rid of that yucky stuff that's on you. You can do the aromatherapy. You can get massage. Massage is like so crucial to get the negative energy out of your body and out of your tissues and out of your muscles. I mean, meditation, yoga. You've got to counteract it, okay? If you can counteract the negative energy, then all you're doing is keeping yourself clear and keeping your energy fields moving like they're supposed to be. One more thing I didn't talk about, I want to mention really quick,
Sure.
is music.
Oh, yeah.
I have to tell you this. And I did a lot of research when I wrote my book. And one of the biggest things that I learned was the healing ability of music. And I found out about the International Harp Society, where people go into ICU units and they play the harp for these people, and it changes their energy fields, and there's like a 27% reduction in pain, and people have been cured, believe it or not, from harps. Yeah, because it's the vibration of the energy that will balance us and get rid of some of the negativity that's in us. If that should make sense after everything we've been talking about. But the energy of music, huge. And so that's a whole nother thing I write about, and people need to understand about. Okay.
That's a show in its own right, isn't it? You know,
absolutely.
You know, hip hop, R&B versus you know something classical, and you know, and is there? I mean, you know, there's art in all those forms of music. There's an art there, and I like every kind of music, right? So I'm quite odd in that way, but yeah, you know what you would listen to does have an effect, and that's an important part. But that's in your book as well, and
yeah.
God, your book covers quite a bit, actually. It really does.
I know. Well, I had to get it out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I should have done this at the beginning, but on the screen, your website's been coming up all this time. Just remind us for the podcast version, your website as well.
Right. You can visit me at theenergyprofit.com, and you can get my book. It's Wake Up the Universe Speaking to You. Like I said, at Barnes & Noble, messages. I do I help people. Now I do some public speaking. I try to help people on a one-to-one basis. You know, I take appointments. I do things like that to help them just like a spiritual life coach. I hate the life coach thing, more of a spiritual life coach. I try to help people is what I do.
Well, so basically anyone internationally can get in contact with yourself as well.
Oh yeah, theenergyprofit.com. Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Okay, well, I really hope they do. And as this interview, you know, is up on my channel for the, you know, many months and more, that people, you know, will watch this and resonate with you. I think you're a lovely person, and I think the message that you're putting across there is really balanced as well, and I really love that. You know, you're not using words that, you know, that separate people. It's just we're all the same, and this is a way forward that you found. This is your truth, and that's a beautiful message. Okay, then, actually, talking about messages, as the final question, what would you say is the most important message to the audience?
Do something good for somebody. Put some good energy out there. just love people. Just put out good energy and you will get good energy back. It's so important. Just do good. Believe it or not, it makes a difference. When you put that good energy out, the universe rewards you tenfold. You have no idea how much it will help, and it will help the planet, and it will help us. It'll help generations to come.
And that matters no matter what you're doing in life. As long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, it matters not what you do, right? You can apply that to anything.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
No. Well, it's now we've gone over time. I just knew that this was going to be a good interview, and it really was. And I'd just like to say, Nancy Yearout, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas.
You too. Blessings to you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on The More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on all past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.com, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe. Hi, I'm Kevin Moore, host of The More Show, and it's my passion to help you live your best life now. You might be looking to find answers on love, connecting with your life's purpose, reuniting with a loved one on the other side, discovering your past lives, or just helping you make sense, finding your direction now. So The More Show has collaborated with the most gifted readers around the world to form The More Show Psychics. Now, my readers have a large range of skills to choose from to be of service to you, and all my psychics are interviewed to show transparency, with each interview available on the website. So call now, dialing the numbers on the screen to speak to my operators 24/7, or go to tmspsychics.com to choose a reader or book online. The More Show Psychics, helping you transform your present moment into the most loving and happiest it can be. Now, I also offer a full money back guarantee, so what have you got to lose? Empower your life now. What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS.
Established over 100 years ago, Watkins Books is one of the world's oldest and leading independent bookshops specializing in esoterica. We have the widest selection of esoteric books in the UK, and our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here to assist you in a unique ambience of our shop. So come and visit us in the heart of London as we're open every day.